Hello, Shas. It is the day after Christmas here in Australia, but to all the people that are currently in the time zone where it's Christmas, then Merry Christmas to you. If you don't celebrate it, then happy holidays, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. And welcome to a video where I want to give a Christmas gift to all of the people that are brand new to Tower, they're finding their feet, they're not sure what to do. I want to give you a backbone of what to buy, which will create a list that works in any of our detachments with the exception of Crude Hunting Pack and can be adjusted very easily to Auxiliary Cadre. Now, the reason why I have to put those caveats in is I don't want somebody to buy into this stuff as somebody who doesn't really have a lot of money, has never really had a lot of money. I'm very, very careful with my purchases, and I don't want to give reckless advice to somebody else that may end up spending money that's not in their best interest. So if you are interested in things like Crude Hunting Pack and even Auxiliary Cadre, I'll talk a little bit about adjusting this to OxCAD later in the video, but Crude Hunting Pack will be having our own video coming out for that, and I'll give recommendations as to how to get into that detachment from a buyer's perspective. But if you're brand new to Tower, you're finding your feet, or you're looking to go into a tournament, I'm going to give you the backbone of a list that will work in any of our detachments and you'll be able to find success with. Now, one caveat I always have to do is that I am approaching this from the perspective of a tournament player. Golden rule: if you like something, then that's what you should be buying. If you think something is cool, then that's what you should be buying. Don't let me or anybody else anywhere in the world tell you not to enjoy the things that you enjoy. What I'm coming out from is, would I be comfortable taking this to a tournament and expecting to do well with it? The other thing I'll say is that once you have a backbone of a list, then don't worry about adjusting the list or whatever else. It can be very easy to fall into this trap, and I feel like a lot of new people do, where you have a little bit of success, or even worse, you have a lot of failure, and people get in their heads, oh, the list is the problem. I'll adjust this, I'll adjust this, I'll adjust this. And while list adjustment can be great from a perspective of keeping the game fresh, if you've been playing a lot, making sure that you're interested, you're engaged, or trying out a bit of tech that you think might be really, really good, a lot of people use it as a crutch to run away from learning the game properly, learning their list, and getting reps down, which sometimes will be a little bit more on the, well, boring's not the right word, but it lacks the flair of something brand new that excites and sets your brain aflame. If you want to become good at the game, find a list, lock it down, and play lots of reps with that list, focusing on the core rules, on your terrain rules, on your positioning, and all that sort of stuff. That will make a world of difference for your play. Okay, and here is the list. You can see that the Coldstar commander, I've got the thermoneutronic projector on there. I just took the bones of my Immortal Tower list, took some stuff out, changed some stuff around. Didn't take out the enhancement, so really what you would expect on the commander is that a cyclic, in my opinion, is always an auto-include, and then you want to have at least 2 missile pods for reasons that I'll go into when you look at the unit that they're attached to, or just weapons that match the unit that they are joining. And then I've got the flamer in there because the thermoneutronic is amazing. If you're not running an experimental prototype Cadre list, then just go for another missile pod or a third weapon that matches the squad that they're joining. Then you can see I'm running shield drones on him. Now, the reason why I do this as opposed to gun drones or marker drones, well, a marker drone and then one other drone, you don't need 2 of them, they don't do anything doubled up, is that commanders are actually one of our best output platforms when you go sort of point for point. They're a singular, better crisis suit that can carry 4 weapons. Now, I see a lot of people taking support systems on them. I do not recommend doing this at all. For the biggest reason that, a lot of the units that you're going to join are going to carry a lot of the benefits of these support systems, and losing that extra weapon can sometimes be the difference between a unit living or dying when this thing is shooting at it. And especially if the crisis unit dies, the weapon support system, battlesuit support system, whatever else, isn't going to matter that much. And an invuln save can be good, but one of the things that you would want to build up to as a good player is to basically not have a moment where you're needing the invuln save. If the crisis unit around him is dying, then that unit's fucked anyway. And you're playing him using spacing and making sure that your opponent can't get to you, as opposed to, I'm just always going to recklessly throw him into it. Now, you may reconsider this if he's going into a Star Scythe unit that you're planning on going super close, but I'm going to just focus on, for this video, so I don't talk for a million years about this, just around the unit that I've chosen to go with him, which is a Fine Knife squad. Now, on that note, if you do actually want to get time one-on-one with me, pick my brain, answer any questions you might have, or just spend 2 hours shooting the shit and talking everything Tau, there are a bunch of coaching options you can have down in the description of the video, either packages off my website, or if you're wanting coaching every month, then look at the Chasso or join the Pantheon tier, which is the best way to get time with me. All right, so that's our commander. One last thing I'll say is that an Enforcer commander isn't a mistake here, but the Coldstar, I find having assault on all of your guns comes up in every game that I play. If somebody can go, okay, 10 inches, I'll draw out, and you can only see down this line, you can only get around this terrain feature, then they can move very deterministically. They know exactly where you will be. If you go 12 inches and then a variable D6 on top of that, and if you decide to run in Montcar, that's an auto 6. That's a lot of extra distance and a lot of extra angles to protect against, which means that usually people can't do it. So I really love the Coldstar because movement in this game is king. Having said that, the Enforcer commander is fine, and if you end up running Retaliation cadre, you can actually drop the Coldstar to an Enforcer and run the Starflare ignition system, which is where you can pick the whole unit up at the end of your opponent's turn, meaning that you've got that rapid redeployment, which plays into a similar style. Then I've got an Ethereal in here. Ethereals tend to come in a lot of the mass kits that we've got. Like, they're generally just more useful now than they've been in previous metagames. And if you don't decide to use it, it's 50 points and the model's relatively cheap in terms of acquisition. So putting it to the side for something else isn't really a big deal. Now, I'll say for Tau as a faction, all of our epic heroes are actually kind of good, and they have a place going into different lists, especially like we look at the new Christmas boxes come out. This thing is actually great value. If you are in a position to get this and you're looking at buying brand new as opposed to secondhand, that box is actually a great thing to get. And if you do get multiples of it, just look at selling off the Farsight. Or if you're particularly artistic, then you can convert that Farsight into a Coldstar by, requisite amount of cutting and gluing and green stuff and whatever else. But yeah, Ethereal Marker Drone, because the Ethereal can guide. He does have for the greater good as an ability, which is what allows people to guide. Marker Drone then gives him the Marker-like keyword, which is really good. It also allows him to advance and guide, which can come up, doesn't tend to, but you want to have that in your back pocket. And then a Shield Drone, just so he's a little bit harder to take out. Then a unit of Crew Carnivores. A single unit of Crew Carnivores goes in every single list that I write. And that's because sticky objectives are just that powerful. They're a very versatile unit. I really, really love them. They're extremely cheap. Do not leave home without Crew Carnivores. Got 2 units of Pathfinders. One of them will take a recon drone. One of them will take a grav inhibitor drone. These guys are able to guide with Marker Light for our army, but then also as a self-contained little missile, gain the benefits of guiding for themselves when they target a unit, which means, again, they are very, very versatile. They've been getting included in almost every tower list since the changes that we received. You will not go wrong with Pathfinders. Then a singular unit of stealth suits. Now, this one's a little bit divisive at the moment because the new kit is basically sold out everywhere. If you can get 2 squads of the old stealth suits in 3-mans and then mash them together, leave one dude out, then that is kind of perfect. But the stealth suits I've put in here, one, because the stealth unit is generally always useful. You don't have to run it in every list. But in my opinion, if you take riptides, you take stealth suits. So that's why I've got a singular unit in here. You keep it towards the back, dominating sight lines, because there's no range on our guiding. It's literally just if I can see any one part of you with one dude from the unit, then I've got the stealth suit guiding. And then I've got 2 units of vespid. This can be changed out for drop a vespid unit, add in a piranha, add in another unit of Crew Carnivores. But double vespid I've fallen in love with because uppy downy with such a cheap unit allows me to play the secondary game without having to sacrifice any primary scorers. And it also means I don't have to commit damage pieces to those secondary things that require you to be in places where, even with all of our speed, some of our units just can't get to. So 2 units of vespid, really, really great unit. Love them a lot. Then I've got 2 sets of 2 broadsides. Now, this was something that I was thinking about, including in here. Do I want to do it? Do I not? And I landed on yes, because you can run these guys pretty variably. You can have 2 units of 2 running heavy rails for both. In terms of support systems, I'd highly recommend the Seeker missile. And then whatever your other choice is, I think the twin plasma is actually pretty good. Weapon support system is absolutely great because ignoring hit modifiers is great for this unit, especially because it's a hit modifier when you're tagged in combat. So if you want to shoot into combat or shoot out of combat when you're tagged, this will allow you to ignore the -1, which on an army that is native ballistic skill 4, very, very big deal. But then you can also run one of the 2-mans with rails, and you can run the other 2-man with missiles. This is especially good in Montcar, where, broadsides usually have a problem with speed. You can advance them and still shoot. You can auto-advance 6, which means 11 inches. Pair it with the strike swiftly enhancement. They can get a scout move at the start of the battle. There's a lot of things you can do with it. So I would highly recommend going rail rifles with them because, the missiles are great, but we are including a fire knife unit, so they're not strictly necessary for that particular profile, but there's nothing wrong with doing that at all. Then I've got a unit of fire knives. These guys are in a lot of lists that I write. The fire knife squad is just so good for what it does, which is pair a commander with it, target a full strength unit, full rerolls to hit. In Montcar, that means lethal hits become a lot easier. In Calyon, that means exploding 6s are much, much easier to get. In things like auxiliary cadre, if you're giving them +2 strength, then you've got strength 9 missiles with full rerolls to hit, which is really, really good because the strength 9 then makes your wound roll a little bit easier. There's a lot of reasons why you would look at having these guys, but fire knives, in my opinion, are the best crisis profile right now. That is not to say that Starsides are bad or that Sunforges are bad. I think Sunforges are probably in the worst state, but at the very least, when you buy a crisis unit, you're not actually designating which, there's no Sunforge box and there's no Fire Knife box. You're just getting crisis suits. And this is where I would highly recommend looking up guides for magnetizing. All of my crisis suits are magnetized. So I can just pull weapons off and put them on as I need. Once you get that done, it's a little bit of extra work, but my goodness, does it make an enormous difference in terms of not having to buy more than I need to. Like I said, I am very good with my money because I don't have a lot of it. So I would highly recommend magnetizing, going down that road, doing it right. Then I've got a singular Ghostkeel. Ghostkeels are really, really good. Some of the lists that I've run them in triplicate, but you don't have to do that. One Ghostkeel is a wonderful utility piece that within the 40k world is called a distraction carnifex. It's hard to take down, it's annoying, but if your opponent puts too much into killing it, then you're likely to come out ahead in that trade. And Ghostkeels, because they've got infiltrate, they've got stealth, they've got lone operative, it's a lot of defensive layers where you can put them at parts of the board that other parts of our army can't stand and live, which has a lot of value. Then I've gone for 2 piranhas. Piranhas, in my opinion, are just one of the most flexible units that we've got in terms of fast scouts and damage deal. Sending up piranhas turn 1 to go and peel open a transport and have the boys inside have to walk, potentially take mortal wounds, all that sort of stuff could really pull apart an enemy's game. And while I don't include them in every single list, from a starter list perspective, 2 piranhas, 2 9-inch scout moves, 14-inch move, detachment bonuses on top of that, they are just really good individual pieces that will allow you to play the game, and even using them as an objective holder. 7 wounds at T7 is actually kind of a bitch to get rid of unless somebody pokes out an anti-tank piece. And if they do poke out an anti-tank piece, then we poke our anti-tank pieces back out and bye-bye, see you later. Because at the end of the day, that is what 40k is. It is a trading game. I give up something, but it forces you to give up something. And usually, if it's a good trade, I have given up something less valuable than the thing you had to give up to stop me from scoring primary or getting a secondary off or whatever. Then I've gone for Triptide. Triptide is ubiquitous in the Tau community. There was a time back in, I think it was 4th or 5th edition or whatever, I didn't play then, but you have all the unks telling stories about it, where you had these Riptide wings, where you'd have 3 sets of 3 riptides, and it was just everywhere. In 9th, they were really, really good with shield drones, and in 10th, they have gotten better after recent changes where the ion accelerator went up to strength 10. Now, I have people talk about the heavy burst cannon all the time. I don't believe it's in a good enough state for me to want to run it. If other people do, then that's fair enough. But ion accelerators have been good in any tournament that I have been in from start of 9th to now. And it's my estimation that the ion accelerators will be still good if we're going into 11th. These guys you outfit with the missile drones, you outfit, I've got them with the twin fusion blaster, but the twin plasma, twin fusion, both are fine. The SMS you can run, I've been a little bit underwhelmed by twin SMS, but if you mass it within a list, it can be enough to get something done. And in that case, that's where your broadsides would rock their twin SMS. So this is my recommendation, short and sweet, but this you can plug into a list, mess around with points and, enhancements and all that sort of stuff. There is a little bit of wiggle room in terms of the points when you start taking things out. Like, obviously you won't have the thermoneutronics, or something else will go in there. The Ethereal is a really great body to chuck anything like Strike Swiftly on. But I've given you something that I would be more than happy with everything I know now. If I were to join the greater good, I'm starting to play 40k, like I did all my time over again. This would be what I would want an experienced Tau player to tell me to start at, and then go from there. And again, I have to point out the caveats from the start of the video. If you like something, get it. Don't let anybody tell you not to run the things you like. This recommendation does not mean anything that's not on this list is bad. Absolutely not. We actually have a fair amount of internal balance within our codex, and really right now we're at the end of 10th edition. So I've also gone at this with a view of stuff that is likely to still be relevant going into 11th. Obviously, I'm not a soothsayer. I can't predict the future. I don't have an in with GW that I would know any of this stuff. But all of the stuff that's on this list, I'm feeling fairly confident on. Now, if you didn't want to go down the road of something like 4 Broadsides, I would highly recommend just like take a unit out, jam in a Ghostkeel. You could also just jam in like a Sunforge unit to drop out of Deep Strike. You could go a Star Scythe unit to drop out of Deep Strike, do actions, flame people, whatever. They're also a great guarding unit, Star Scythes with Flamers, because they don't benefit from the army rule at all. They automatically hit and they ignore cover natively because our Tyrant weapons have ignore cover. So you can slap Marker Drone on them, guide for somebody else, and you've got Marker Light guarding. Now, they don't have any of the benefits that Stealth Suits give, but that's my recommendation. All right, and as promised, on screen now is what I would do for Oxcad. It's a little bit different. You can see that there's still sort of like a similar backbone in there, but really what we've opted for here are a few key changes that allow this to work. And this is something that I would recommend going down if you know for a fact that you're going to want to play Oxcad. In my opinion, Auxiliary Cadre is one of the most competitive ways to play Tau at the moment. That said, it's only marginally ahead, in my opinion, for a experienced, skilled pilot. That doesn't mean that like a brand new player is going to pick it up and instantly have success. But having said that, no new player with Tau does that. You've got to really learn the game. You've got to go through your bad beats. We are one of the more punishing armies to play poorly. So key changes in this, Shadow Sun's in, I've got a second unit of Crew Carnivores, dropped a unit of Pathfinders, put in a second unit of Stealth Suits, put in 12 Rampages, 2 Crutox Riders riding as a 2-man rather than 2 individual boys, a single unit of 5 Crit Hounds, and I've got a Hammerhead in there. So if you're interested in Oxcad, this is the direction that I'd go. Crit Hunting Pack is its own beast, and again, like I said, we'll have a video on that, but that's just for anybody who wants a leg up going into this, just to look at my tournament. Short and sweet, hopefully. I'm at the end of recording now, I think it was. Make sure you do all the internet things if you liked the video or like it, use the hype feature, share it, all that sort of stuff, or don't. I'm not your dad. We're currently doing a little bit of a fundraiser as part of Christmas to help me and my family. So if you would like to help us out, you've gotten a bit out of the videos that we've released so far, or the videos we will. There's a PayPal link in the description. That is the best way to support us right now. Nothing is expected, but anything that comes through is amazing. I want to make a massive shout out to Pagan, who made a very generous donation just today. Pagan's been one of my longtime supporters. He's an absolute Giga Chad. He's my Caldor Drago. Thank you so much to all of my patrons who make all of my videos possible. If you would like to join them and support me long term, there is a link down in the description. You get access to Discord, a whole bunch of behind the scenes stuff, events on the Discord, whatever else. And especially my Join the Pantheon members. You could probably hear my baby going on the baby monitor. And of course he stops as soon as I pick it up. And especially a massive shout out to my Join the Pantheon members who have been such a pillar of support of myself and my community and everything. So thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.